Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna do season 1 episode 2. This one is gonna start where Kirk, Spock, Sulu and all of them are in these episodes. It's not gonna be the same people that were in the first episode anymore. I've already done my brows. I've already primed. Okay, I gotta get the hair out of my face. Okay, that's better. Okay. So this one starts off, you are inside the Enterprise, that is the name of the ship. Spock, who is the Vulcan, is temporarily in command right now because the captain and the doctor and a crewman, a young crewman, are on their way down to the planet. Now, they are there because the doctor is going to examine the married couple that are on the planet. They are archaeologists and they are studying the planet. And it's just the two of them there. But they have to have a medical exam every year. So Bones, who is the doctor, that's his nickname. McCoy is his character name. But he is there to give them their yearly checkup. Now the deal with this and McCoy is gonna be his ex that he's going to examine and her husband. So they beam down to the planet because, you know, well, maybe you don't know, in Star Trek they have transporters that basically like take them apart and then put them back together wherever they're going. Kind of like a fax machine. Which is a scary thought, but that's kind of, in a way, kind of what it is. So they get to the planet. And they go to the house that this couple lives at. Nobody's there. He's wondering where they're at. Bones is. And Kirk, the captain, tells him just to chill out. That they got there 10 minutes early because he was in a rush to get there. So to chill out. So they go inside. And Bones is like, I don't even know if she's going to remember me. It's been like 10 years. Like, you know, it's been a while since they saw each other and were together. So he's a little worried about it. Which is, you know, okay, whatever. Well, she comes in. She immediately knows who he is. You know, she goes in for hugs and all that good stuff. And he looks at her, Bones looks at her, and he's like, oh my God, like, you haven't aged at all. You look exactly the same. And she's all like, oh, thank you. You know, that kind of thing. Well, then he turns around, and he's introducing her to Captain Kirk. And what Captain Kirk sees is not the same thing that Bones saw. It's the same woman. But she's not young. She doesn't look like she's in her, you know, early 30s or late 20s. She's not young. She's got gray hair. You know, I mean, she looks appropriate for her age. So he introduces them. Well, then he turns to the young crewman that's with them. And when he introduces her to him, the young crewman sees like this really young blonde chick. Okay? And she's not blonde to the other ones. She's got brown hair and gray hair. And he's like, oh my God, you know, he's freaking out because she's gorgeous. And he's like, you remind me of this girl I met on Pleasure Planet. Which, you know, I mean, the fact that it's called Pleasure Planet should kind of tell you what goes on that planet, you know. And of course, Bones is like, hey, like, you can't be talking to her like that. And the captain's like, okay, you need to go outside. And the young kid's like, okay. So, you know, he goes outside, and Kirk's like, you know, I think I'm going to go outside too and give y'all a moment kind of thing. And she's like, no, you can't leave me here with Plum. And she says Plum. And the captain's like, Plum? And she's like, yeah, it's a nickname I gave him a long time ago. And he's like, okay, well, Bones is like, okay, we need to do these exams. And she's like, okay, well, let me go find my husband. So when she walks out to go find the husband, once she actually gets outside where the young crewman is, she's, you know, back to the blonde chick. When she's all giving the young crewman the eye, you know, the flirty eye. Well, he follows her. And that's all you see is him following her. I was like, okay, what the heck is going on here? So they're sitting there waiting, and the husband, his name is Bob. The girl's name is Nancy. They are Bob and Nancy Crater. He walks in, and he is not happy to see them. He insists that they don't need a medical exam. You know, this is just ridiculous. He's like, all we really need is salt to battle the heat. That's all we need from y'all. We don't need medical exams. And Bones is like, well, basically, you know, you're getting one because that's what I'm here for, and it's regulation, and that's just how it's going to go down. It's going to happen, we're going to do it. So Bones starts looking at him, and he has this little instrument he uses. It's like a little, actually it kind of looks like this. And he just like goes around his body and it takes measurements and all that good stuff. And he's talking, and Bones is like, I just can't believe, you know, that she hasn't aged a day, you know, no gray, no nothing. And Kirk's like, she's a pretty woman, but yeah, she's got plenty of gray. And Bones is like, no. And the husband, Bob, he's like, you're just seeing her through the eyes of the past. He says, I'm sure next time you see her, she'll look normal, like, you know, like she's supposed to. And he's like, well, maybe you're right. Well, then out of the middle of nowhere, they hear the girl screaming. And they're like, what in the world? So, of course, they rush outside to find out, you know, what she's screaming about. She's the only chick there, so. And when they find her, she is standing over the body of the young crewman. He's out on the ground. She's screaming. So they rush over there. They're checking him out. He's got like these round pink dots just all over his face, and he's dead. and they pulled something green out of his mouth. And she was like, I was just talking to him to tell him that I wasn't offended by what he said. You know, it wasn't a big deal. And before I could say anything, he took a bite. Well, he took a bite of some poisonous plant. We'll put it that way. Is what she's saying. And then that's why he's dead. So, you know, I mean, the captain is not exactly a happy camper. He doesn't like it when his people die. So they say, okay, we're going to do the exams tomorrow. And, you know, we got to figure out, you know, what's going on. And before they leave, Nancy says to Bob, you did remember to tell them about the salt, that we need salt. And he's like, I'll handle, you know, that kind of stuff, the provisions, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay. So they take the body back up to be examined up in the ship. So they get back up to the ship, you know, Bones checks out the body and stuff. Kirk's like, okay, well, what, you know, report what's going on. You know what happened. And Bones is like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing wrong with him. He should just be able to get up and walk around. There's nothing wrong with him. Can't find anything wrong with him. And of course the captain's like, that's not good enough. Like, he's dead and I want to know why he's dead. I want to know what killed him. And he's like, you know, I just don't know. You know, she said it was that bean. You know, I'll admit I was a little distracted because of her. And, you know, Kurt gets a little upset and he's like, you know, I don't really care about your personal take on stuff. I want to know why my guy's dead. You know, because he's in charge of all of them. And if something happens to one, he, you know, he wants to know what's going on. You know, that's his job. So, sorry. So while all this is going on, Spock is up there running, you know, checks on the craters and how long they've been there, what was going on there, you know, that kind of thing to find out. Okay, so we're going to interrupt this because I'm pretty sure I told y'all in some other video that I like Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm pretty sure that happened. So I found these Star Wars makeup brushes. I have a brush problem. I've already admitted it, okay? And they were so cute. There's one that's really cute, but these were cute. They're like eye brushes and they say Star Wars and they're different colors. And then there's this one that lights up like a lightsaber. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay, but it's cute and I had to buy them. I mean, I don't have an explanation. I just had to buy them. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Spock's telling him, you know, that all the reports are normal. You know, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, he does say that their production went down this year for some reason. Couldn't find an actual reason why it went down, but that it did go down. Which, I mean, they're kind of like, okay, that's not like that big of a deal. You know, it is what it is. Well, McCoy calls them Bones. McCoy's the same person. He calls them back to the lab. And he's like, okay, there is no poison in him. So her whole, he ate that berry thing or whatever, no, that ain't why he's dead. He ain't dead because of no berry thing. He said, and he tells them the only thing he could figure out was that he doesn't have any salt in his body, which everybody has sodium in their body, but he doesn't know why. And Kirk's like, well, you know, that's kind of funny because the only thing that the creators both made sure to ask about was salt, which is true. They both asked about it. So he says, okay, we're going back to this planet. We're going to go back there. I'm debating whether I like this brush or not. So they go down there, and he's like, the captain's like, okay, I wanna talk to your wife. And he's like, well, she's out right now. You know, she's not here. What we're really worried about is the salt. So, he shows him how much salt he has left. And, like, the salt comes in, like, little tablets or whatever. And he's just showing them how much they have and how much they need to combat the heat and stuff of the planet they're on. And Kirk's like, yeah, I know that you need salt to, you know, do that, but salt was the only thing missing out of this man's body. It didn't have anything to do with the plant. And he's like, okay, we're going up to the ship and we're going to figure out what happens. So the ship contacts him because they went ahead and ran all the toxology, well, I say toxology, all the reports, and, you know, found out that that's literally the only thing. He's not poisoned. The plant could not have poisoned him. He did not die of poison. So when Kirk tells him, okay, you know, we're going to go up to the ship, we need to talk, da 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 da, Kirk turns around and starts talking to Bones, and the Bob guy runs out of the house. So, of course, you know, they chase after him. Well, Bob, while he's out there running around, okay, so I'm just going to tell y'all that I'm going to be using this Naked Urban Decay Wild West palette. And I'm going to be doing green today because if y'all have not figured it out from the way I talk, I am from Texas. And they have a Tex color in here. And I just feel like it's my responsibility to use this. So I will be using that today. So they take off after him. He's out there running around, being a jackwagon. While Bob's running, it shows him, and there's another crewman that's dead, that's laying there. And instead of freaking out, he's just kind of like, and he goes off in another direction. Which, Kirk doesn't see this, but we see this. And we know that that is weird. Okay, this is very, very patchy. Anyway, we know that this is weird behavior, and if it was us, that would not be our reaction. So for some reason, Bob is out there. And he's talking about, I have salt, I have salt. Come on, I have salt. Which is a weird thing to just holler out. I think it's a weird thing to holler out. Whatever. So then it cuts to Nancy while he's screaming to come get the salt. And she is standing over a second crewman's body. Well, this time, this is really patchy. It's not digging it. Okay, so I'm gonna make it work. So what she does is she suddenly turns into the dead crewman that she's standing above. She looks like him now. She does not look like Nancy anymore. So it's like, okay, what's really going on around here? So she goes up to Kirk and them as the crewman. And the crewman, or Nancy, whatever we want to call her. It's like, I didn't see anybody. And, he was checking the area for whoever killed the first guy. And he didn't see her. Which, of course, he is her. So, that's a lie. Bones is freaking out. And Kirk's like, okay, we're going back to the ship. And Bones, he's upset, but understandably, but Kirk's like, no, we're going back up to the ship. And Bones puts up a little bit of a fight about it, because, he's worried about Nancy. He wants to find her. Nobody can seem to find her. Nobody knows where she's at. Okay, I'm really not digging this. Maybe it's just this color. I'm going to use another color in here, so hopefully it'll work better. It's just very, very patchy, and it's taking forever to blend this out. Okay. So they go back on the ship, and Kirk's like, okay, we're going to find him with our sensors. It'll be way easier to find him with our sensors than us being down there trying to search for him on foot. So they get up there, Spock starts the search on the computers. Well, when they get there, Kirk goes to the bridge. Bones goes to his room. And, Spock is trying to find him already and all that. He finds Bob. He's like, well, I'm only seeing one life form on the planet. And, of course, that doesn't make any sense because, where is Nancy? Where is she? It's going to take me forever to do this. Okay, anyway. Well, meanwhile, the crewman, Nancy, whatever we want to call her or him at this point, is following one of the female crew around. She's got a plate of food. And he's looking at her real weird, and she's like, what is going on with you? Why are you looking at me like that? And he tries to go for the tray, and she's like, get away, this isn't yours. So they get in an elevator, and he follows her. And she takes the food into the botany lab. And the food's for Sulu, so they talk a little bit. Well, there's this plant in there that they talk to, and it makes noises back at them and moves and stuff like that or whatever. So they're doing that, And she's all rubbing on the plant, talking to it and all that. She's like, one of these days, one of your plants is gonna eat me. So they're in the botany lab, and the guy walks. A botany lab is like, it's got a bunch of plants in it. It's basically what it is. So the guy walks in there, the crew guy, Nancy, whatever you want to call her at this point, walks in there and he's walking towards Sulu and his plate, and it closes up, you know, it does a close up on the plate where the salt is. And he's just in there staring at it. And they're like, you know, what's going on? What are you doing? You know, he's just ignoring them. He's not really answering them. They're just kind of like, what is your problem? Well, then he walks by the plant that the yeoman, Janet, that's her name, was talking to. And the plant starts like freaking out and screaming and like goes back into its shell and stuff. And they're like, what in the world? So he runs out. So Kirk has decided that his crewman's death is by an alien. It's not by any kind of normal means. Which he's telling them. Well, he goes to Dr. Coy Bone, and he's in this room, and he's trying to lay down, and he's deciding whether to basically take some sleeping pills, and pills will make him go to sleep. Well, outside, because he's fixing to walk out, when he walks out of his quarters, or his room, whatever, Nancy is there. She's back to Nancy now. She looks like Nancy. And she, you know, he's like, come on in, come on in. And she's like, you look tired. I think you need to get some rest. So she's all soothing him, you know, trying to get him to go to sleep. And finally he does. And on the speaker, they call out for McCoy, the doctor, Bones. They've all got several names, anyways. And they're like, you know, we need you in medical, blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't want him to wake up, obviously. So, she changes into him. So now, it's Bones walking. Now there's two Bones walking around. Because she's going to go to the bridge where she was caught. Well, Tart decides, okay, we know Bob's down there. We're going back to that planet, and he's going to give us some answers, whether he wants to or not. So Spock and him being back down on the planet, they find Bob. Bob's not happy. He doesn't want them there. He's screaming at them to go away. Just leave them alone. And Kurt's like, where is your wife? Where is Nancy? Where is she at? And he's like, we're happy when you're not here. We were better off without y'all. Da 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 da, you know. Well, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. We're not leaving. I've got a gun. I say gun. It's a phaser. Which is basic. Which is basically, I mean, it basically shoots energy, lasers, that kind of thing. But it's, I mean, it's their version of a gun. It's not bullets, but it's their version of a gun. The futuristic version of a gun. And he shoots at him, and Spock's like, oh my god, he's trying to kill him. Spock decides he's gonna sneak off while the captain's still talking to Bob. Where's your wife? Where's Nancy? Where's she at? Blah, 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 you know. And then all of a sudden, Spock's like, Captain, you need to come over here. So Kirk goes over there, and they find the crewman dead that he took the form of, the one that beamed back up with him on the ship the first time. So they're like, what the hell? So they tell the ship, hey, you know, there's something on board. There's an alien creature on board. You need to lock down the ship. So basically everybody goes to their rooms except for security. And, you know, he's locking it down. So they get it all locked down and all that. Of course, you know, Spock and him and Spock are still on the plane. But Spock's my favorite, by the way. Anyway. So they're still on the planet. And they're like, okay, we got to deal with Bob. I mean, what the, you know, and where is Nancy? Where is she at? So he starts talking to Bob again, and Bob starts shooting at him. Spock's like, he's trying to kill us, again. And he's like, no, he's trying to scare us. And he's doing a pretty good job at it. He's trying to scare us. But he's not trying to kill us, he's trying to scare us. So Spock sneaks around behind Bob while Kirk's in front talking to him. And Spock fires off his phaser by Dr. Crater. And when he turns around to see what happened, Kirk stuns him with his phaser. So it takes them a second to, you know, get all there. You know, somebody stunned me. It'd probably take me on a minute too. And they're like, okay, where is your wife? Where is Nancy? And he's still kind of groggy, and he's like, it didn't do it on purpose. It's just, you know, it's trying to survive. And they're like, what? Well, come to find out, Nancy has been dead for a year or two. He can't remember if it's been 1 year or 2 years, but it's been a year or two that his wife's been dead. He just can't quite remember. But he can't blame the creature because, you know, it's the last of its kind. It's just trying to survive, you know, do its thing. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but it killed your wife. Come on. But this dude's weird anyway, so it's kind of like, I can kind of imagine him doing something like that. Like, it wouldn't take too much to, wouldn't be far-fetched to imagine him just letting it go kind of thing. And they're like, okay, you are coming back to the ship with us, and you are going to tell us everything you know, what's going on. So it goes back up to the ship. Bones has made it to the bridge, and they're like doing a deck-by-deck search, checking in, you know, is everybody good? They got security standing by, all that good stuff. And Bones is like, well, do you need me to help you, you know, look for the creature or whatever? Well, finally the captain and them get back up on the ship with Bob. And they're asking him about the creature. Okay, that mirror is way too big. They're asking him about the creature, and, you know, they find out it needs the salt to survive. It can't survive without salt. She's the last of her kind. There's not another one. And he says that he almost did destroy it when it first killed Nancy. But he could understand where it was coming from because You know, it was the last one and it was trying to survive, and he gets that. Well, Bones is sitting in on this meeting that they're having. And he's like, yeah, you know, it's got to protect itself and got all that good crap or whatever. And Kirk's like, okay. And he's talking to Bob. Are you going to help us find this creature, you know, that killed your wife? Let's remember that. Are you going to help us find it? And he's like, no, I'm not. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not his wife. Let's just put it that way. And of course the captain is not, you know, he's just not having a good day all around. He's just not having a good day. He's like, okay, Bones, I want you to go get the truth serum. Give him some truth serum. So he's going to tell us whether he wants to or not. Bones is like, okay. So they stand up to leave. Spock's like, I'm going with you. He's like, okay. Well, on their way, something happens. We don't see that. We just know that all of a sudden Kirk is getting called to the medical room or lab or whatever. No, not the lab. Like the medi bay. The medical bay. And he's like, oh, good Lord, what now? You know? Which I don't blame him a lot. At this point, I'd probably be like, what now, too? So he gets there. And they're checking out Spock. And he's getting up. I was going to use this color in my eye, but God, that was so hard to blend. I'm going to try it anyway. So he gets down there, they're checking out Spock. Spock's like, the doctor is not the doctor, it's the creature. And Kirk's like, well, you know, you look fine, you got attacked. And Spock's like, well, I have a different makeup, you know, a different anatomy. He's a Vulcan. Well, he's half human, half Vulcan. But he has a Vulcan anatomy, body-wise. He's like, so it didn't want me. And then they turn around, and Dr. Crater, or Bob, is laying dead on the floor with the little suction cup things all over his face. So this creature has now killed the guy that's been covering its butt for years. And they're like, okay, we gotta figure something out. Well, it was last Bones. So you see Bones go into his room. He turns into Nancy. And she starts, wake up, they're gonna kill me, they're coming after me, they're gonna kill me. And he's like, what? Because, you know, he's asleep, so he's kind of like, what? What are you talking about? Nobody's gonna kill you. Well, Kirk walks in there and he's like, Bones, you need to get away from her. And Bones is like, no, what is going on? And Kirk's like, shh, that's not Nancy. It's a creature, it's not Nancy. Which he's not lying to him. That's not. And he's like, move. And Bones is refusing to move. He doesn't know what's going on. So that's Nancy as far as he's concerned. And, you know, Kirk's trying to tell him that's not her. Get away. And he won't get away. So the captain has some little salt pellets in his hand. And he's like, come on, you know you want them. and you can see her wanting to go for him, but she doesn't want Bones to know what's going on. And he's like, come on, I'm right here. And Bones is like, Jim, stop. Because the captain's name is Jim Kirk. So he's like, Jim, stop. And Dylan, so she snatches the salt and she starts eating it down, right? Or the salt pellets. And she starts eating it down. And then she goes after the captain. She's got him paralyzed. Her hands are out. He's just like frozen. So she's going at him. She touches his face. And Spock walks in. And he's like, shoot her. Shoot her. She's gonna kill the captain. Shoot her. And him and Bones wrestle over the phaser. And, you know, Spock goes over there and pulls her away from Jim. And he's like, it's not Nancy. And Bones is like, what are you talking about? So Spock starts beating the crap out of her. He's hitting her, but Vulcans are like way stronger than humans. Like, and he's just whacking her and she's just sitting there taking it, and he's like, does this look like Nancy? Because otherwise, normally he'd have knocked her out on the first go. But she's just sitting there taking it like a champ. And then she pushes Spock across the room, and he's like, does that seem like Nancy? And of course Bones is like, no. Well, Nancy starts going back towards Kurt. She's got her hands out. She's, you know, placing them on his head and stuff. And it turns into the alien. Like, you can actually see what the alien looks like at this point. It has like this leech mouth where it's like a circle and it's got all these teeth. It's got like sunken in eyes and skin. It's like green and gray. It's got gray hair, and its hands are like basically like 3 big tentacles with suckers on it, right? So she's putting her suckers on the captain's face, and you know, Spock's like, you gotta kill it, you gotta kill it. But you know, at this point, yeah, he needs to kill her. That's just all there is to that. So Bones finally takes the shot. It only takes him 20 years to take the shot. He takes the shot once, moves it, doesn't kill it, gets back to Kirk. He starts screaming because he's dying, literally. And so Bones shoots her again, and she goes down and she's dead. You know, she's in the creature's form, but she's dead. And, you know, Kirk tells Bones he's sorry because, you know, he had to kill her. It looked like her for a long time, and, you know, the real Nancy's dead. Which sucks for McCoy. It really does. So he apologizes for that. And I mean, it kind of does suck because, you know, the creature was the last of its kind. And like, in a way, you get why it did what it did, but at the same time, you know, he ain't just gonna let that go. That ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna kill his people. That's just not how he works. And he never worked like that, ever. But once everything's taken care of and all that, you know, they are back on the bridge. and everything's back to normal. And that is the end of the episode. I like this episode. I'm okay with this episode. I'm going to be honest with you. The next episode is probably my least favorite out of all of them. I just don't like it. But I'm going to do it. So I will be doing it. But it's not particularly an episode that I enjoy. But I do enjoy other ones, just not this particular one. I don't know if it's the actor in it. I don't know. I just don't like that episode. Okay, lips, and then I'm done. Trying to decide what this smells like. But it smells familiar. Alrighty, that's it. We are done. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. I will be doing the third one. Like I said, not really my favorite, but I will do it. But until then, remember, makeup or not, you're beautiful.